Hey y'all, in this video I want to talk to you about scars and birthmarks. And I have been this thought for the longest time that I need to make this video because there's at least one person out there that needs to hear this. I know that I'm one of those people that suffered from having birthmarks. I have a birthmark here on my face. I don't know if it's considered a port wine stain. I know my daughter wound up with it as well, but hers is on her eye. And so when I was little, people would say, "Oh, you've got something on your face," and it was so embarrassing to have to tell them, "Well, it's a birthmark when you're a little kid." It's like, no, I didn't spill soda or something on my face or Gatorade. Well, we didn't have Gatorade back then, but it was really, really embarrassing. And so, if you're having to deal with something like that, or you have scars, I have lots of scars all over my body. As a person with a disability, I've had lots of surgeries, and the every day I see my scar right here from where my neck was broken in a car accident when I was 18. And so I will talk about this in a lot of my videos, but just in case you haven't seen those videos, 3 weeks after I turned 18, my neck was broken in a car accident. It was pretty traumatic. We flipped 5 times out in the middle of the field. So it took me 2 weeks before they could do surgery. And so when they did surgery, I was left with this large scar. They had to take a bone out of my hip. So I've got a scar on my hip where they carved a bone out of my hip and then they fused it to my spine and to rebuild this part of the disc that was shattered, C5 was shattered. So they had to put all that back together. And I see it every day. And I've always been kind of, embarrassed by it. I'm a woman. And so I've got this scar. And I heard something a few weeks ago that I wanted to share that really made me look at it differently. That it said, look at your scars as life's tattoos. They tell stories. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to stop feeling bad about my scars and my birthmarks and just look at them as life's tattoos because I have a birthmark on the back of my head. And it's a generational one. My great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and myself, and my daughter, and my son, and now my granddaughter, we all have it. And so it does, things like that, they tell a story. And so in our family, it's kind of fun. It's like when you have another child or whatever, it's like, did they get the birthmark? So look at it, the life just branded you, it gave you kind of like a wink and a nod that, hey, look, you're special. Or, if you have a scar or a missing limb or something, just remember that you've gone through that and you can look at it in a positive light or you can look at it in a negative light. When I look at my scar on my neck, I'm like, hey, I'm not totally paralyzed anymore. I came through it. They thought I was going to die, told me I would never walk again. And I argued with them for, several months that I was going to walk out of the hospital. After 4 months, I did walk out of the hospital with a very, very bad limp, but I was walking. And so I have something to be grateful for. So if you're going through that today and you're having just a really, really difficult time of looking at your scars or your burns, I have a burn mark, I have a third-degree burn mark on my leg that I went on a date one time when I was healing from that. This was several years ago. And the gentleman pulled up to the curb to let me off because there was no parking in the parking lot that was close to the restaurant. So when he came around and opened the door and I went to get out, I hadn't put I used to wear big square bandages over them so people could see the scar as it was healing. And I forgot to put it on that day. And he jumped back and he just yelled, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And people were coming out of the restaurant. They could see him, carrying on. And I was really, really embarrassed. And so I made sure that I always covered it when I went in public. And now, because I look at it as life's tattoo, I don't I don't look at it that way. It's like if people have a problem with the way my body looks or that I have a scar, that's on them. That's their problem. It's not mine. Don't look at it. It's on my body. And no, I don't have leprosy. I mean, sometimes people would treat me like I had leprosy when I'd walk around and I have a very pronounced limp. And when I was walking, I'm in a wheelchair now, but they would look at me and they would give me what I call the Elvis look. And my doctor asked me one time, "What's the Elvis look?" And I said, "Do you remember when Elvis used to sing and he would cock his lip?" I said, "This is what I get." I said, "No, they're not admiring me. They look at me like I'm some kind of freak." And I said, "And it gets old." But after a while, I finally got to the point where I don't care. That's a you problem. If you don't like the way it looks, then don't look at it. So I want you to get a thicker skin. I want you to know that you're not ugly and you're not broken. You know, we're we've gone through something and we're okay. And I have an affirmation that really works for me. And I'm going to read it now because I'm trying not to cry and I don't want to mess it up. And it says, "I am beautiful or handsome or attractive, whatever word you want to fill in there, just the way I am, and everybody loves me." And I want you to tell yourself that. And I know you're not going to feel it at first, but I want you to really try to do that. If you're feeling ugly right now, you're feeling broken, you're just hurting yourself. We've got to get over what people think about us. And I so admire other people that are missing limbs or they've got really bad burns or whatever, and they just love themselves and they get out in public and they don't care what other people think. So let's all try to do that, okay? Let's one try to be kind to each other and not make horrific remarks. But when someone does, just dismiss it. I kind of imagine that I've put them in a bubble and I just pop it and they just go away. That's just what I do. It's like poof, you're gone. You know, I wave a magic wand, boom, you're gone. What you think about me is none of my business. So I know that there's somebody out there that really needs to hear this. And even if only one person watches this video and it's you, then this video is for you because I make these videos with lots of love and I put it out there and I want you to know that at least one person loves you and at least one person understands because I have been through it and I've been down in the trenches. And something I've learned through, I had a plastic surgeon that had to work on my leg and he was one of the top plastic surgeons. He was way back in the day. He taught me all about, gave me information on plastic surgery and stuff. I thought it was people for, facelifts and tummy tucks and stuff like that. I didn't know that back in the day that plastic surgeons even worked on people for open heart surgery and transplant surgery. So that was amazing to me. He taught me so much. But one of the things that I've learned is to what you put on your burns, certain things will help. For me, is coconut oil. I've always had problems with my skin, and learning that I wrote it down, not on here, but it's organic, cold pressed. I think it's virgin. I've looked it up, and I'll put some links down below on different coconut oils that you can have. I know some people like to use MCT. I found a coconut oil that has MCT in it as well. So it's like a 2-for-1. So I'll link that down below. I am an Amazon associate. So if you want to use any of my affiliate links to support this channel, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And but I just really want you to know that it is just life's tattoo. It's okay. If people make remarks or they stare or whatever, that's them. Just ignore them and go on with your life. And I want you to go on with your life with a smile. I get compliments all the time. They're like, "Oh, you have such a pretty smile." And I've had people tell me that when they've watched me walk back in the day when I was still walking and before I had to, my spine, I had problems with my spine. I had to start using a wheelchair 3 years ago. But even in the wheelchair, people always comment on my smile because I try not to let that, what's going on in my life take away my joy and take away my smile. So one, I'd love for you to smile. And two, I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to tell yourself, "I love you. I really love you." And ladies, I don't know about guys, I can't speak to guys, but ladies, if you've never told yourself, "I love you," you're going to cry. I learned this for Louise Hay, and she even said, she's the first time you do it, the first few times, you're going to cry. And I did. I cried for like the first 5 times. I never told myself I love myself. I want you to accept yourself just the way you are, and it's okay. And if you feel like nobody else loves you, I want you to love yourself. And so when you start loving yourself, other people will love you as well. So I'm just making this video because I know somebody needs to hear it. So if it resonated with you in some way or shape or form, please like it and please share it with someone that you feel that could this could help as well. And don't remember to subscribe so you can see the next video that I make. Mwah. Have a great one.